Okay. So it seems she loaded another data earlier. Okay, so you can see all the. Why does it have field one? What data is field one, field two? But I suppose. Okay, okay. Mm. So yeah, so you can do a yes and select. You see that when the what's the name? When the cell selection comes up. Okay, so we can see it's starting from A1 to B20. No, see, okay, so you see it selected just A1 to A23. See the ranges where it's selected. No, in this table or range, the text box. No, cursor up. In the this what's the name pop-up window. Can you see the table or range? No, not on the data set. The pop-up window that popped up after you selected create pivot table. Yes. Can you see the range? So it's at the moment it's selecting only this thing. So cancel it and let's select again. We want it to select the entire table. Okay, so you can edit it. So we are starting from A5. So just go to the row and column. So it's A5 exactly. So you're not including, okay. So why we had to do, okay, I see where the column one, column two is coming from. So it's because we have those other special columns and rows. You can, okay. I wanted to say it's even stop, it's okay. So because we have those special columns and rows, that's why it had to give it a title. So where do you want to, okay. You already selected new sheet, so let's go. So now you can see our table columns, our data columns by the left. And then we have this um, display filters, rows, columns, or values. Now, remember that we want to summarize. So you can decide to summarize by what you choose the columns within your data, what you want to summarize by. So you could decide to summarize by, let's say, a major. You want to see all the students that take a particular, that are in each major, right? So the major here, I think it means course. So you can now select the major and decide where do you want it to be. Do you want the major to be the row or the column? So you drag it up to, okay. So you can do the selection. So you select where do you want it to be, the display, the rows. Okay. So it's the row. Then you can now decide to check maybe the total of all the students in that that has that major, in a particular major. So that's where we use these values with the summation sign. So you will now choose on values because you want to see the values of each of the students in each department. No, so you click the row, I mean the data column you want to summarize now, just as you did for the row. Yes, in values. So you can just click add, yes. So do you see that it has auto, what is the, go to the values and see what kind of math operation did it do there. Exactly. So it has automatically so I was trying to scroll. I forgot I wasn't the one sharing. So it has automatically counted all the students in each major. Now, for the values uh, entry, you can decide to choose the kind of math operation you want to perform. So maybe you also want to check what operation, maybe the minimum, or so you can you add, no, you add the value there again. You add the value, whatever column you want to check, you add into where, so in this case, maybe to values, and then you want to find the, in the, we did count bar, so let's come, no, so it is still count, then you come and click on it here in, it's still the same thing, so you have to change it. Take your cursor back to the second count and right click or drop down. I think in your case should be drop down. Click on the drop down. Then value field setting. So you choose, click on value field setting. Then you now choose the math operation you want to perform on that one. Do you want to find the average, the sum, and you choose. So you know that it cannot calculate average in this case, right? So let's pick another, let's add another row. I think the fees should be here. So we can calculate average for that instead. So take off this average of major, because of course it will throw error. Before you get average, you have to sum by number of occurrence, right? So it cannot. So remove field. Then you bring fees, add fees. Mhm. So it has automatically done some. Then you can also decide to also do average again. So you can leave the sum and maybe want to find average too. Or change this to average and do another one to be sum, whatever. Mm. So if let's see. So when you see that the first measure that we tried to calculate the average was throwing an error, but now we have these fees that we're able to calculate average. Do you know the reason why it threw error for the major, and why we could not calculate average for major and we're able to calculate average for the fees? Okay. So first, you know how we calculate average in maths, right? How? What's the formula? Number of number of the total number of occurrence, right? Total sum divided by the total number of occurrence. And you know that, so here we have done count of major. So count of major returns what? When we are counting something, when we are counting, what is the result supposed to be? Is it returning the total number of occurrence, or is it returning the total value? Exactly. So here we have seen that and in anthropology department, there are two students. Scroll up to the first. Yeah. So you can see that in anthropology major, there are two students, and the total sum of the school fees paid is 46. So for us to find the average, it means we'll divide the total sum, divide by the number of occurrence, which is 2 in this case, and then we have average. The average now becomes 2, because number of total sum divided by number of occurrence, and the number of occurrence is 2. And why we could not calculate for count for major is because we already have counts, which now is the total. So what occurrence? There's nothing to divide it with to get the average. I don't know if I am able to explain it properly. Okay. So that's why we can calculate the average. And you see the same thing here. The school fees here is 125. The number of occurrence is 5. When we divide 125 by 5, we get 25, and so on. So for these values, you can calculate any mathematical function. So maybe let's also see average, mean. So we can also calculate another math value. Okay, no. Okay, so I think we can leave that. Then you can decide to pick a row. So okay, okay, so we have picked here. So these filters is where we have not added value to. So you can now, so the filter is like what you use to search, or what you use to segment the data. So we can decide to use, okay, so use any, uh, we've not added. So scroll, okay, so yeah, so now you can choose. So because you've selected, you can see that it's all the IDs that is selected. So all the displays will show. So choose an ID. Uh, so this will still almost show the same thing, is because an ID is unique entry, so it will not really influence. So let us not use ID to search, and we will also not use. So let's check, scroll down, let's check something that groups them. Residence hall. So you can uncheck all and pick one or two. So you see, it will only return data for students that are living in these halls. So you can leave uncheck and leave one. So the filters come in handy is when you want to have a general overview. So in this case, now I want to check all the people that are living in a Jackerson residence. How many people are there? How much school fees on an average are we supposed to expect from there? and all of that. And you see here we have only one student lives in in the hall, and his major is merchandising. Only one student whose major is merchandising lives in this residence hall. Then four four who are in business live in this residence hall, and all of that. Then now we can now decide to find. Oh God, I keep scrolling. I forget that it's not my system. Okay. So you see how we can easily summarize. So out of that whole data, go back to the sheet. Out of that whole, no, go back to the main sheet. Out of this whole data, on a first glance, have, you cannot really make out a lot of information, right? But you see that with the summarization, if we go back to the summarization, you see that for now, trying to slice, you can easily find students in a hall and what course they major and how much school fees is. So this will help easy view of data to find information. I hope this is heading somewhere and you're getting it. Okay. So let's say we have done this and this is good. So we keep doing what's the name? The pivot summarizations. So this is one pivot table we've created. We could go and load another one again. So you keep going back to load, determining what you want to search. So you could have another goal of the data you want to look out for. So you keep, no, you have to go and load another pivot table. You can't create one pivot table is for one occurrence. So you create another one. So now, since you are finding it hard, just highlight all these ones and delete them so that you don't have to be selecting, or I think from the text box if you can edit the cells where you want to copy from. So so you could just easily take your cursor to where the cells haven't displayed and just change it, since you already know the range where it starts and where it stops. So from A, maybe 5 to the end. But you've already highlighted now. Just do whatever one that is comfortable with you. I mean that you're comfortable with. So let's do another summarization. What do you think we can look out for again here? Now, as a data analyst, one thing you should be conscious of is you don't want to just go and be doing summarization without aim. You just want to summarize a table. Oftentimes, when you have a data, there's an end goal, or there's an end result you want to make out of the data. Right. So in this case, we have students' record and school fees and all of that. So you could have you when you are doing proper analysis, you already would have had your thoughts out. What you want to visualize out of this data, what is the information you want to get out of this data. And oftentimes you must have even written it down, so that when you get to the pivot table aspect, you already know what you do. So you know the next pivot is this table and this table. You get which row is going, which column is going where, and all of that. But this is learning. So think of another summary we could try to fetch out of the data. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So again, I was looking out so that I would show you. So you know that we always make a lot of pivot table oftentimes. And if you want to keep creating new sheets for each pivot table, in the end you might even get confused. So the next one I will show you how you can load it into your existing sheet so that you have all your pivots in one place and it doesn't become too rowdy. No, no, no. We'll see. You see. Okay, I finished this one, ba. So let's create another one. Okay, I can see. Wait, wait, go back. I think you're creating from table. That's I go select from range. No, cancel. Abi, wait. Okay, no. Sorry. It's the table actually existing, but you have not. So you can. So we are starting from A5 to you see. So that's okay. Wait, click. Yeah, click on this. The box. Click. No, the box. The box. Yes, click. It's supposed to take you to. No, no. Okay, so write sheet one. For usually mine, I'll just click and if you take me, I'll go and select the location. Hello? 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 So were you able to load it? Okay. I loaded it inside this existing sheet. Oh no. Please delete. I want inside sheet one, that's where we want to load it. So that all our pivots are in one place. No, existing sheets, then sheet one. So go to no, 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 no. Okay. Choose the data that you want to analyze. Okay. No, no, click sheet one. I thought you typed it the other time. Okay, so select, come out, see if you can scroll out of, no, you're in sheet one now. So scroll down so that you select a point exactly ahead. So you can, yes, exactly. So that's fine. So it means you want it to start from there. No, no, it's fine. You can just click. So you see that it loads. It has, so it means we can start our pivot table. So let's do another summarization. Okay, I wasn't speaking. I'm just watching you. Okay. So you can select all. Let's see. Okay, that was all before, right? The first one was all. I can see. Okay. This data does not have so much. So we can also check class and class and hall. So how many students in like which how many students are in? You have checked that. Okay, so how many students are in a class and what program? So you can check class again and program, or you can even combine multiple this thing. Now, it's not even necessary that all pivot tables you have to add the filter button. It's not necessary. But now it still boils down to your aim of your pivot, because it is the pivot tables you will use to create your visuals. So it now boils down to what is the aim before you will now know if you're adding filter or not. So let's do something with the class. I don't think you have created any visual that has. Did you fill in the comment section? Uh-uh. You are, but it's not okay. So the this thing is dependent on this table beside, and this table beside here is dependent on another, it's dependent on this place. So I think that's why you had the error. So create a few, then we will solve for that, and I think we'll call it a day because my system is about 20 something percent already. Eh, I'm even saying 27. We won't get there. It's 14%. So what do we do? Okay, so we'll just start with solving this comment part. So it's a logical statement. I know you'll be able to figure it out. So let me just tell you what you're supposed to do. Then you try it. If you don't if you're unable to get it right, then we'll work on it in class. So this table for comment is dependent on this score, test scores. So we're checking for if the score is less than, so you see the grading system, scores that are between 100 to 75 is ranked excellent. Scores that are 74 to 50 is good. And any score below 50 is repeat. So based on this, you will now use logical condition if statement to check if this score is within this range of 100 to 75, it means they should return excellent. If not, it should match the appropriate distance. So you are going to use nested ifs. Have you done multiple nested ifs in Python? Okay. So just try it out if you're unable to get it. So you use Excel nested if or multiple ifs, say equals to ifs. Try it out, and no, so the first test is the score. Now you have testing the score first. No, the test score. No, see the test score here. No, just the score that is in the cell. You know that when we drag down, it will now use the absolute relative referencing to reference the corresponding cells. So just take your cursor, and Excel gives you hints now. So if this is equal is, so you now check if it is greater than or less than. Remember, we're using logical listening. So if this value here is greater than or equal to 75, you should return results. Else, another if, so you use, okay, we already said you now state the second condition. If it was just one condition, like two, we're checking if it is true or not true, would have just used if this, then we return the results if it is true and the results when it is not true. But in this case, it's a bit complicated because we're using multiple ifs. We're checking for three conditions. But if you get confused, you can just do two conditions. So if the score is from 50 and above, it should be good. If not, the person repeats, then we can now do the multiple ifs in class. My system is on 10%, and I'm so sorry that I have to cut it short here, just so that it will not go off abruptly, and I will also lose the recording. So yes, enjoy the rest of your weekend. And do you have classes today? I said, do you have classes today, like school classes? Oh, okay. And I did I check on your health again now? Just pardon me. There's been so much going on. Hope you're a lot better now. Okay. So let me run out before my system go off so that I can save the video. Have a lovely weekend. Okay, bye.